Saga continues. So I wanted to talk about my experience with Nakto today. I'm going to come into frame. And the reason that the saga continues is I got the most ridiculous, I don't know where frame is. My goodness, I should have tested this. My bad. I got the most ridiculous email today as reply. So you know, if you saw the last video, is it here? Is it there? I don't know. I'm not as good at mirror view. You know that this is what I received in the mail when I asked for a left crank assembly. So let's note first that it is crank arms, both, no assembly. So today I sent an email Sunday, and today I got a reply back saying I'm confused. On Sunday, don't mind the child, it's not mine. The email I sent said that I would hope that they'd include the hardware I needed to attach it. Because every bicycle has a slightly different crank assembly from everything I've looked up. There's probably 80 or so different assemblies that could attach this pedal, which is all banged up on the inside, to this spindle. So this is the crank, that's the pedal, this is the crank, this is the cap, dust cap, and this is a piece of hardware. There could be 8 to 10 pieces of hardware involved in attaching a crank to a spindle. Do you want to know what they said back to me? Nakto at ebikes.com. I think that was the email address that I sent it to, and who replied to me was a Nakto official. I'm confused. There isn't any hardware to attach it. And there was a picture of it just being there. Like, as if it's supposed to just magically stay. So I sent back the picture of the bolt that is stripped from having been rocking inside its casing. So the trouble primarily with is just 2020 manufacturing problems, you know. Didn't have enough time to double check everything. If and when I finally do get this sucker back up and running, I am definitely going to be going over, like, are the brakes fully attached? Is the headlight fully attached? Are these fenders trying to fall off? The first time I rode it, I did have to really adjust the chain guard because it was rubbing. You know, this I tightened down myself, so I feel pretty confident with it. I did just loosen this, so I'll have to check on that. But is the seat really attached? Like, I'm genuinely concerned about things being tightened enough or not, and the assembly having gone on in the correct order, due to the fact that Nakto is scrambling to try and keep enough stock in order for 2020 bicycle demand. It's one of the industries that's been hit really hard. So in that way, I can kind of understand that they're going through some stuff. That I can kind of understand. The experience of being a high demand manufacturing. So yeah, if you order anything that's been manufactured in 2020, go over it with a fine-tooth comb. And I am going to do that before I ride this again anywhere. I should have done it in the first place. This all could have been avoided. But I'm also kind of hoping to avoid having to take off the whole other crank arm, because that involves the chain guard, detaching the chain. It doesn't have a derailleur, so I have yet to deal with actually removing a chain when there's no derailleur involved. It's just like a single gear. So I'm really hoping to avoid that and just have them figure out which hardware is involved. But I find it highly disconcerting that they tried to tell me that there's no such thing as hardware to attach a crank arm to the spindle in a lower bracket. That's insanity. That is absolute insanity. So my faith in the customer service of Nakto. Isn't too hot right now, I will say that. Like, I have great concerns after that particular conversation. Really hoping that, you know, it'll work out and everything will be okay. Doesn't really look like there's a whole lot missing. I might be able to just use this banged up screw. Also, because there's a throttle, I could just zip over without pedaling and get the correct bolt from Kindle. But I also really want to see things like this, like the fact that the people answering their customer service line don't even know how bicycles work, haven't seen the assembly, and are willing to just straight up tell me that that's fine. Of course, that'll never come back off with no hardware. That's nuts. That's just nuts. So I hope you're as amused as I am, and I hope you have none of the frustration I have right now, because, like, oh my goodness, what a wild ride. I think it's going to be a really good bicycle when it's up to speed. I was so ready to actually do like a side-by-side comparison and say I liked this one better. Then the crank arm fell off and I had to figure out what customer service was like. So I do like having the throttle. Technically, it's not legal to be in use on the rails to trails and stuff like that around here, like bicycle designated spaces. And I don't like that it's only one speed. It's way too fast. Those are the primary things. Love the throttle though, because the most vulnerable time I'm finding being on the road with other cars is while I'm struggling to get up to speed with this hulking weight of a bike, because it's like 60 pounds. I'm trying to get that sucker up to speed. When cars are coming past me, it's actually kind of hard to stay straight. And then once the cadence sensor, which is an item, it's either internal or external, that reads how often your pedal goes around. And once it goes off around fast enough twice, then the motor kicks in. That means the motor kicks in after the cars have all decided that you're slow as mud. And there's this really difficult moment where cars are starting to pass you because they have figured out that your speed is near zero. And then you pick up speed all of a sudden. It's scary. So having the throttle as an option at an intersection to just be like, yes, this is my speed, this is how fast I'm going to be going, and then start to pedal and do pedal assist is so much more comfortable of a ride experience. And I am going to add that to the cyclomatics. It's happening. That's the main two things. A little bit more battery, whatever, you know. But the customer service experience, there's certainly plenty of other bikes that have a throttle, even have multiple speeds, have in stock, and probably have a slightly better customer service. Who knows? Maybe not. So there's my update. Still working on this hoopla, and I hope you found this interesting, or at least entertaining. And I will talk to you again once I have things moving.